Welcome back to Prime Arcana, the Scourge Garden. Danger beyond the pale. Standing behind Skogul on the descending lift, the albino bat towers over everyone else. It has its wings tucked in tight, and Skogul can sense its ribs shuddering with each uneasy breath. Its dark eyes glance nervously down at the cramped bodies around it. Food, ready for the feasting, if not for the blue one, who is quite large, despite being so small. Everyone is bleeding. Jonbon stands on the worst of it. He grips the railing just tight enough to hide the shake in his feathered fingers. Vindis leans against the smaller Keppel, who's mumbling the same thing over and over beneath his breath. Should have stayed hid. We should have stayed hid. We should have stayed hid. The gnome is crushed between Vindis's good hip and the railing. His wide, terrified eyes stare up at the bat's ragged wingspan and the strand of spit clinging loose from one yellowed fang dangling above him. Vindis is in his own quiet misery. Birdfolk aren't meant for this kind of closeness, so he keeps shuffling his bat wing tighter in against himself, refusing to look over at the bat. Only hours ago, he watched it bite the head off one of his friends, and he'd done his best to kill it, until Skogul had calmed the animal. When one of the bat's hooked claws scrapes against the floor near his own talons, Vindis stiffens like he's about to spring out of his feathers. Skogul, I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, stands steady, tense in spite of the fatigue sinking into his bones. He's got one eye on the bat and the other on Ettin, who, again, correct me if I'm wrong, stands slightly apart from the rest, slightly ahead. She grips the elevator's lever like she's daring it to break. Her ears are still flat, and her tail lashes as she rethinks back through her second meeting with the warden. So, Haley, how is Jonbon mentally right now?
He is not all there. He is really bad. He's probably experiencing that kind of state where, like, you've just had a bunch of adrenaline, but it's, like, completely worn off. And so he's kind of in a daze, I would say.
Okay.
Skogul, he's kind of feeling the heft of that bow that he's got and feeling a sense of appreciation. And he's almost feeling like the draft of the wind going through as the elevator descends. Kind of feels like it's at his back for once, and it's a reassuring feeling. He's watching Ettin, who he still knows as the cat.
The beast.
Or the beast.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's just watching her from behind, really just trying to get...
And as he does feel that sort of brisk breeze up his back, he's reminded of the satchel that he carries, made of woven bat wings that essentially carries roughly about 350 pounds of meat and bone and weapons and armor collected from the giant bats and the chain reapers. You have chains dangling over your shoulders and around your neck, wrapped around your waist.
Awesome. Okay, that image is great. This mule could use a rest.
She's annoyed at the warden. She's annoyed that she's in the labyrinth of her not own volition. Again, she's caught up on the, I didn't do anything to get down here. This is stupid. I just want to get out. And so she's annoyed that they have to stop and rest. It's like she wasn't involved in the fight. You know, she's just like, I'm ready to go.
As the fourth bell chimes, the lift settles onto the floor of the black cells with a brutal jolt that shakes everyone. The doors creak outward, and as you step out, you hear the immediate grating cry of a female goblin shout.
There he is! I knew it! I fucking knew it!
As you step out of the elevator into the black cells, you see the little goblin woman clanging her plate against the cell bars. She points over at the bugbear across the room and says,
I told you he'd crawl back. All you sorry bastards said he'd drop like the rest she brought. But I knew better. Snowblood don't die easy.
She stalks along the inside edge of her bars, eyeing Skogul with a delighted, predatory grin. And then her sharp eyes catch sight of Jonbon, Vindis, and Keppel, and her grin shifts.
Huh. Look at this sorry fucking menagerie. What the hell's happened to you all?
As she's like squealing, he just like rolls his eyes.
And then as her eyes shift to Ettin, she goes,
You running a charity now, or...
and like, before she even finishes her sentence, the albino bat unfolds out from the elevator behind everyone and starts moving slowly down the staircase, its head on a swivel. Milk pale skin stretched over long bones, with white, glassy eyes, luminous in the glow of the black cell's fire. Every step the giant bat takes makes the room feel smaller. Her grin doesn't falter.
Gods below. What a beautiful creature.
Once Skogul has seen that everyone's moved in, he just kind of says under his breath, but pointed at, I guess, the menagerie. I'll just use that word for now. But he just goes,
Stay away from the bars. I think you know that.
Vendis looks around and just goes, noted. But Keppel doesn't say anything. And the fire in the hearth is getting low. It's been a few hours now since you dropped off what was left of the rotting stag's corpse. The two of you, Ettin and Skogul, both look over to the hearth and the fire, what's left of the dire elk carcass that Ettin dragged down here from the ogre's lair. Over the last 7 hours, it's been left out to dry, and has gone from grotesque to truly miserable. You can see that the skin curls back from its skull in small little leathery patches. The exposed meat is the wrong color. You see a sickly purple near the bones, but yellowed and crawling with maggots everywhere else. A lump of them bubble out from one of its eye sockets like it's weeping mash. The stink is remarkable, especially for you, Ettin. It's heavy and sweet with iron. Skogul, Ettin, Jonbon, Keppel, and Vendis, all please make survival rolls not to vomit as you get closer.
no combat.
Ettin, you have a advantage on this, as does Skogul. Meryl is not used to being around rotted meat.
Jonbon.
Oh yeah,
Jonbon.
Jonbon's, or Meryl's not even there, so Jonbon.
Meryl
Meryl
would be vomiting already.
She would just walk into the
It's a
cells and her
delicate
head
nose.
would pop.
Yeah, Meryl's head just explodes.
She's like, this ain't
Talk about
awesome.
my baby that way. Yeah, no, she would. No, she would have. I don't even know if she'd gotten on the elevator. Like, good God. But Jonbon got a 12.
Okay.
I got 15.
Skogul got a 23, it looks like.
Yep.
Alright, so...
He has no sense of smell from being poisoned.
22. The number to beat was 15. So, it's the two birds. It's the two birds that puke. Vendis catches the sight of the rotted, just half elk, and just goes, "Oh, why is that down here?" And like leans over and just like pukes on the ground.
So Jonbon like slowly looks over to Vindis, sees him puke, and slowly looks over to where he was looking, and then just like immediately vomits all over his feet. What is that?
Welcome home.
And just gives kind of like one of those little scoff chuckles.
And leaning out the bars of her cell, the goblin goes,
We've been getting to watch that blooming perfume rise all day. It's been magnificent.
and you can tell that like every other prisoner in there is just like fucking not happy that like Ettin dropped this thing off. It has just been like rotting up their cold dark space all day long. She looks at Skogul and she goes,
How's your belly, big boy?
He looks at her with like a cold, steely, anime-style glare.
Fine.
And she gives him the cutest possible return anime goblin smile, where like she has like a 1-inch tall body and like a huge, like cute little green head, and then there's like 2 little like blinking things on like either of the sides of her eyes. And she goes,
Skogul Strongbelly. That's what I'm gonna call you now.
and then starts dancing around her cell.
And Skogul just he rubs his temples with one of his hands and it's just like,
Oh God, it doesn't end.
She comes back up to the walls of the cell, puts her face up to it, looking out at Vendis, Jonbon, and Keppel.
If any of you newbies need a place to bunk, mine comes filled with bed bugs and bloodstains. It's heaven.
I think Jonbon might puke again. He's definitely concussed. He's he's having a bad time. So he's listening to her and hears what she says and just describing her nasty ass cell, and yeah, he throws up again.
Vendis does not humor her. His feathers bristle. To most, it seems like maybe annoyance, but Jonbon, even through his haze, can see like a deeper disgust as he just responds, I'd rather rot standing. And Keppel ignores her and hugs himself. He is a broken, rattled gnome. When he locks eyes with the goblin woman, he starts to cry again, softly, ashamed. He shakes his head and looks away. Nearby you, Jonbon, a half-hill giant reaches out from his cell with a massive, meaty hand and waves you closer.
Hey, little bird, come over here. I want to show you something.
He might take like one step forward, but then like he squishes down onto his puke, and that distracts him enough to kind of break out of the approach. And he says, I don't want to go over there.
Oh, I'm friendly.
I think he might try to eat me, to be honest.
Who, me? Eat a bird? Only if it's dipped in batter and deep fried. You taste best that way. And I don't see any fryers around here, do you?
He kind of like looks at the group and then looks back and just kind of plants. No, that's okay. Whatever you have, you can describe it to me.
I'm more of a visual teacher.
a visual teacher.
His response is just,
He says to Skogul, he says, hey, big guy, you go see what he has.
I think you know well enough that he has nothing for you. No one in the Black Cells has a single thing but an opportunity to take something from you.
You hear that? He kind of like tries to stand up to his full height, but he's hurting.
Just ignore them.
Hey, Blue. Come on, man. We can share them. Bring them over to me.
This wouldn't even be a snack for one of us, let alone two.
Well,
He backs the fuck up from Skogul now.
one of them, yeah, but all three? Nice little feast.
She's listening to this and like kind of stoking the fire, trying to get it back up and feeding the carcass to the fire. But hearing this happen, she kind of saunters over and stands close enough to the hill giant, but just out of his reach. And she turns to Skogul and says, glad to see you're finally getting the hang of things down here. And she just glares at the hill giant. You can't eat these.
I can eat whatever I want.
Go ahead and try.
Open the door. I'll eat you.
And she gives a low growl. Don't tempt me.
You're all so boring.
he like sits back down on the big cot. So, you went and you fought the bats. You met the Descenders. You then spent 6 hours stripping those bats. Then there was a 20-minute gap where they fought the Chain Reapers, and you had that talk with the Warden, and now you're here. So, like...
God, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Wow.
so 20 minutes ago, you were like, all right, we finished collecting all of our bats. Let's go back out. That was 20 minutes ago. like 23, 24, 25 minutes-ish, because we've been down here for a couple minutes now.
I think she's probably taking out some of her frustration on the carcass, just like breaking it down and shoving it into the fire.
As she's doing that, Skogul kind of walks up behind her and goes,
Maybe save me some of those bone shards. Might make it for good arrows.
You can take what you need, use everything you can. Just, how long do you guys need to rest?
he looks back at the super bloodied and fucked up crew, and he's just like,
They may need a good long rest before we can head back out.
We just did this.
Hey, I finally killed something.
And I wasn't even there to see it. I leave you guys alone for 20 minutes, and
I bet you'll never guess what happened with that final spinneret.
did you finally blow your load?
he like gets an embarrassed little like flush on his cheek.
If by blow my load you mean it worked, then yes.
Sometimes it just takes time.
And then and with that, he takes that big heavy ass sack off of his back and he like plops it in front of where the corpse of the elk is that she's like rendering it and throwing into the fire.
Should we cook up any of this?
Yeah, I think we should go ahead and smoke what we can while we're down here. That way it just lasts a little bit longer. What's your bat friend need? What's his name, by the way?
Skogul stands when he hears that after dropping the bag, and he looks towards the bat. Hey, how tall are the black cells? Is there room up there for him to grab onto something?
The ceiling is about like maybe 30 feet above you. There appears to be a large metal hook where a large, maybe like chandelier or lantern at some point in the past was dangling up there, which either broke or fell and was never repaired. And they've just been, letting the firelight be sufficient.
Okay, yeah, so as soon as she says, what's its name, by the way, he kind of looks towards the bat, and it almost like as soon as it sees Skogul watch it, just like lunges in the sky, and then affixes itself to the ceiling, and he goes,
Good question. I've been meaning to talk to it about that.
Better be something big. She pokes the fire again.
I was just going to start setting up drying racks and stuff for meat and start cooking it.
Roll a survival for me.
Okay. With advantage still?
Sure. This is just a basic animal. Skogul's done this like thousands of times. Okay. So this is what you can get from this thing. The antlers can be carved down for hooks or grips. The hooves can be boiled down for glue, which can be used for a myriad of different things. The hide can be used for leather wraps, bandages. Then there's some sinew that can be used for bowstrings or trap triggers. But it is only half of the elk, and it is a damaged elk. So that's pretty much all you can get. There's really no meat that you're going to be able to get from this thing, but you already have a fuck ton of meat from those bats.
So out of curiosity, since Skogul's been out in the wild, he's been running around without his shoes for a while. Does he know how to make that stuff? Because he did go into how does that work? If you want to.
I would say 100% that Skogul would know how to make some form of leather shoes. I would have you roll a survival for that.
Yeah, so I think Skogul, as he's taking a look at the hide, realizing that the bat wings weren't helpful for that purpose, but the elk hide is probably very useful for making some footwear. He tries to render the skin as Ettin's breaking down the rest of it. And here we go. Oh wow! Oh yeah, 26.
So he has made so many pairs of like makeshift shoes. I mean, as a frost giant or half frost giant, walking in the snow is no problem for him. But you've done enough spelunking and climbing in trees to know that like having a little bit of leather covering the bottom of your feet is never a bad thing. So these are extremely rudimentary. I would deign to even fully call them shoes so much as they are more like flip-flops.
He looks like the Big Lebowski walking around the dungeon.
Yeah, you have flip-flops on now.
Okay, so we got some bone shards. Do I have to roll to see if I can fashion a bunch of arrows or because do you know how many I was given when she handed me the quiver?
I would say that you have, the quiver had 30 arrows in it.
Oh God, I don't need to do this at all then yet. Okay, maybe he'll just I don't know. I think the sinew is going to be useful for traps, and the glue is going to be useful for traps. So maybe I'll just collect that stuff for now.
Okay. All right. So as, Skogul sits down and starts to sort of like parcel out this deer, stripping it down to make traps from. Ettin's, sitting there stoking the fires. Vindis and Keppel both start sort of patching themselves up. Vindis starts patching himself up, and Keppel starts to sort of help out. You do notice that nobody's helping Jonbon.
Yeah, he'll slowly try to help himself. He's gonna have kind of wandered back over here just to kind of get away from the people who were trying to eat him. So
Okay.
he's kind of off by himself, healing.
And
He kind of walked by Vindis and Keppel, sideways glanced, but he's not trying to mess with them because he knows he's not in their best graces right now.
Yeah, I think once Skogul has started rendering things down, he's just getting a litmus off of Ettin.
I hope it wasn't too much effort getting that bow and arrow.
Well, the warden saw my plight, but in the same breath told me that I need to get a fucking move on. He wants results, which I'm assuming is why he gave in to my request.
And what is his power over you?
He's my ticket out of here? I don't know.
So the bargain you struck upon meeting his demands, you walk free.
I'm assuming so. I don't even belong here. I didn't do anything wrong.
the hill giant stomps his foot and he goes,
I didn't do anything wrong either.
the goblin girl goes,
Oh, I definitely did.
Well, I think we can do as best as we can, but it might be nice if, I don't know, I were able to join you in escape, I mean.
I can't guarantee you anything. The deal is for me.
So what exactly is it that you're doing for the warden?
You're just cleaning some things up.
Wouldn't have anything to do with wanting to see where the Black Claws are at.
I tell you what, he's real interested in Monster Manuel. He wants him alive, though.
Good luck with that.
You said you ran into him on the way down, so makes sense that we'll run into him on the way up.
Keppel is like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
It's not a good idea. Rip your
That's
head
a
off, cat.
Ettin turns to Keppel and says, well, it's a good thing you're not in charge.
He just kind of folds in on himself, looks away from Ettin.
And she says to Jonbon, I think I can handle myself. And apparently, this guy actually can fight. And I got him that bow and arrow he wanted, so my chances are pretty good.
And don't forget our friend.
He looks to the dark above us, and then you see the bat just hanging in the gloom, staring at us inquisitively.
You hear this kind of chuff up.
She kind of says under her breath, yeah, as long as it stays on her side.
So what? He gave you that nice bow and those good arrows to... He's looking at Skogul now, trying to get him to crack.
You don't know what bows and arrows are for?
He kind of fluffs. He's on edge. He kind of fluffs his feathers a little bit.
I am a ranger. It turns out I'm not so good at hand-to-hand combat. So what does a ranger typically like to do with weapons?
Cut it with the hypotheticals.
Okay.
What do you want with the Black Claws?
I just want to get out of here, and the beast seems to be my ticket. As long as I create a good enough distraction, which I think I'm getting better at day by day. It's even been one day. Is it still one day?
You've been in this prison for about 24 hours, yes.
Fuck me.
Yeah, dude. Vindis kind of stares into the dying glow of the fire, and he's like, I don't know if this cat is the best possible ticket. There was 30 of us back after the ride. Carbuncle pulled us together, and we survived down here without the guards because we knew who's back to guard. And then she showed up. He doesn't even look at Ettin when he says it. He nods over at Keppel. There's 2 of us left now. This is what the warden's work looks like. And he clicks his beak. 2. And beside him, Keppel fully crumples in on himself now, just shaking and clawing at his sleeves. And he's just like, I killed him. What was I thinking? Oh my god, I killed him.
So that is your purpose down here. Trying to do the Black Claws, what you did to the Descenders.
I have no purpose down here other than to get the fuck out. And she turns and she glares at Bendis and she says, do I need to remind you how Carbuncle attacked me?
She's not lying.
I tried not to fight him. I tried to go against my very nature just so I could see if I could fit in to see what this fucking place was about. And then he tried to kill me. What was I supposed to do?
He said there was something wrong about how you smelled.
She turns and rears on Jonbon, and she goes, just for your information, I hadn't even spoken to the warden at all when that happened. And she just kind of ignores that last part from Bendis because she doesn't even fucking know. Look, I don't actually need any of you guys to do what I need to do for the warden. So if you don't have any faith in me and letting me protect your back and working as a team to get through this shithole, then you're welcome to go back up top and go back to whatever hole it is you came from. I'll find what I need on my own.
Bendis doesn't say anything. He just goes back to bandaging his arm. And Keppel hasn't looked at you once.
We got a lot of good people with Black Claws. We don't need a bloodbath.
I think Skogul's gonna take some of the cooked meat, and he's just gonna walk up to Keppel, seeing how like vulnerable and small he is, and he just kind of leans in and he just goes,
Steel yourself. You can't show weakness down here.
And he takes the meat from you and just says, thank you, and starts eating it.
And then I think Skogul's going to take a step towards the bat and kind of toss up some meat towards it while it's hanging up there.
It just doesn't even like let go of the hook, just hanging upside down, just chomping away at this hunk that you tossed up there. How many does he toss?
Just one big chunk.
Okay.
Just making sure he's happy.
How big is it roughly?
I don't know if we're talking
Like basketball, football?
Yeah, a basketball for Skogul, so pretty big. It's probably a human torso size.
Oh my god. He throws a fucking chain reaper up there. Like he had like he had like a chain reaper over his shoulder. And he's just like The Minotaur in the cell says out to Keppel, your dead friend. Can you retrieve the body? Keppel and Vendis both look over at him.
I'm definitely curious what the fuck he's trying to get at. I'm just looking.
Yeah,
though.
Jonbon will look.
If you can bring him to me, I can bring him back. You see that he's got like green robes that like have physician markings on them, but they're crusted over with like months of filth. And he continues and says, not perfectly, of course. Death is death, but enough. And like Vendis stares back at the Minotaur, like raises an eyebrow with his eagle eye, and he goes, you're sick. And Keppel asks, bring him back? Like with magic? The Minotaur chuckles. No, little uncle. Magic is a liar's tool, peddled by those with a snake's tongue. It is not real. I am a doctor, a physician, man of science, and I can tell you assuredly, life is math, and it doesn't care what you believe in. With enough skill, the most brilliant among us can make anything move again. The question isn't, can I bring him back? The question is, what would you give to talk to him again? I see you all walking free in this place. I would like to do the same. Keppel shudders and he's like, He looks between Vendis up to Ettin and Jonbon and Skogul, unsure how to respond.
Skogul pictures in his mind the time that he wore the carcass of a spider to freak out the other spider.
Yes.
And he looks to Keppel and he goes,
May I remind you that all of them are down here for doing the most heinous acts. I would not trust anyone.
and he looks towards the goblin.
She's smiling.
They live in deceit.
I've never told a lie in my life.
Maybe they don't believe they live in deceit, but you can tell.
In his cell, the bugbear shifts behind his bars. He looks straight at Ettin.
You want to finish the warden's job alive? You let me out.
He taps 2 claws against the iron, slow and deliberate, like he's counting down towards a hopeful, just streak of violence.
Those birds and that little gnome are carrion already. You said it yourself, you don't need any of them. Pigeon's got 1 wing in the grave, and that chicken's never gonna swing a blade straight again. Yeah, I see you favoring that foot there, Colonel.
Ettin kind of rolls her eyes at him. Don't you think if I could have let one of you dumbasses out, I would have done it by now? I can recognize a big scary guy when I see one.
You're telling me that big blue guy right there isn't strong enough to break this door off? Come on. At least try. You get me out, and anyone you throw me at, I'm gonna wear their guts like a fucking scarf.
I'm sorry, I'm too weak.
Above Skogul, the bat rears forward and screeches out in a high-pierced sonic wave. Bounces off the small room. Vendus looks over at Skogul and says, "You sure that thing's not gonna kill us all in our sleep?"
I can't say it won't kill you, but I could ask it politely.
I would appreciate that. If you don't mind.
You held yourself pretty well in that battle. I may as well.
Yeah, Skogul's gonna try and have a little chat with the bat. He's
Ooh.
gonna go to one of these little corners and go and just like as he's walking towards it, he motions for the bat to follow.
Roll an animal handling for me, please.
All right. 10.
The bat does not follow you.
Okay. All right. So seeing that, Skogul kind of walks back towards the center. He cups his hands and he goes,
I think we need to figure out what to call you. What is your name?
And the bat just like gives you this like it's like the screech just like echoes out across the room.
Yeah, so Skogul, like, he winces a little bit, and he keens his neck to one side, and he goes,
Holmir?
She shakes her head.
Oh, we got a detail. Okay, again. What is your name?
The same thing. The sound
goes,
just echoes across the room.
like, he winces again, and he covers his ear. He knocks his head a little bit, and he like pops his neck from side to side. He looks back up at her, and he goes,
Drauvik.
The bat releases from the ceiling and like slumps down onto the ground and like slowly like rises its body up towards where its face is like less than an inch from Skogul's, and you just can hear through its massive ears down into its just like vibrating cavern of a chest this like and then it like
Skogul,
puts its like head down and like slowly presses its forehead against yours.
Skogul pats its shoulder, and he just whispers under his breath,
Ghost Fang. Incredible.
and then he releases her, and then tosses her another chunk of meat.
And for the remainder of the night, she does not stay up on the ceiling. She remains essentially like perched around Skogul, covering him and his space with her wings.
Whew.
We're not going to eat our friends tonight, right? There's your answer, Vendus.
She is feeling some kind of homesick. Drauvik. Reminds me of home.
Oh. Yeah, I figured you might know that word, but you still haven't told me how you know the ones that you do.
It's not important.
Well, a little bit of history helps, considering that I've trusted you and you've gotten me this far. I think you can trust me with a little info.
I just want to get out of here and go home. Back to my village, back to my family.
I've never not seen the sky. I share your desire.
I I've never even seen what these other things are with us. And she's like, I mean, really, she's referencing
The black cell.
everybody.
Yeah.
Like, everybody in the black cells, they're new companions. Up in the mountains, we don't get a whole lot of diversity, but I didn't know so many creatures existed.
Well, as far as I know, we all share beating hearts, and we all come from nature, even though we try and survive in this artifice. But of these creatures, the ones that you speak with so frequently, who among them should we worry about?
I don't know. Sometimes I get some bad readings off the birds. I really feel like the little one, well, he's got nothing in him. I mean, look at how he's falling apart. That's not a warrior. That's not a threat.
He looks over at Keppel. He kind of feels this like coldness in him, and he's getting some dark memories coming back to him.
He must decide whether or not he will continue, but that's not a choice that we can make for him. He did prove to be quite destructive when needed.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I mean, worst case, he's just another distraction.
At least with the bat, Dravik. At least with her, we will gain vantage. And, hopefully we stand a better chance. This could be our turning tide.
Hopefully you can perform like everybody says you were doing up there. I mean, kind of sad I missed it. Finally living up to your potential.
Only when you're not looking.
Yeah, go ahead and gouge my eyes out then. Maybe then I'll get out of here.
Whoa. I think you need your eyes. Right. Wait, cats need eyes, right?
Debatable. Look, I'm not saying I'm growing any kind of affection towards you, but I'll do what I can to make sure you get out.
Well, this Dvegar could use all the help he could get, and I appreciate it.
Dvegar, it just means dwarf.
Oh, come on now. I know I say some pretty mean shit to you, but that's just low. Do you hate yourself? Hey now. Like I said, I say some pretty nasty shit to you, but never a dwarf. Those...
He just chuckles and he goes,
I'm glad to know you have limits on your slurs.
You can never call my people dwarves. That's just outrageous.
Skogul's like, all right. She hates dwarves more than she hates me.
Exactly.
After a few hours of quiet, Skogul hears the three Draconians, silent until now, begin a measured, low conversation in a language that he doesn't understand. When you look over at them in the dark, the red-scaled one leans casually against his bars, arms folded, eyes gleaming softly in the faint glow of the fire. His voice rolls like a rasping whisper. The one with the black scales snorts dryly in response before replying in a deep, languid drawl. His tail lazily curls around him and you can sense amusement, or maybe disdain, simmering just beneath the surface. The blue Draconian stares at Skogul with a narrow-eyed gaze and a faint smirk twisting his scaled lips. He mutters something silky, obviously pointed at the improvised trap that you're fashioning from bat bones and the bits of armor and weapons that you took from the chain reapers. Looking around, you see that Vendus, Keppel, and Jonbon are all in a heap nearby the fire, trying to sleep.
She's not sleeping. Skogul can definitely see the glow of the hearth reflecting off her eyes.
I think he's mostly, his ears are perked up a bit because he hasn't heard these creatures speak before. He honestly thought that they might actually be mute or they didn't have a way of communicating. So the fact that they chose when everyone went to sleep.
And why do you choose this hour to whisper to each other?
The blue Draconian says, "We talk to each other throughout all times of day. It appears that this is just the first time you've paid attention."
And what got you into that cell?
My compatriots and I traveled here from beyond the Sable Flow Ocean. We come here from the Empire of Scales, Ashgalith, where dragons rule, and your kind has long since been eradicated. Only stories of their failures remain. We came hoping to open conversation with the leaders here, but it appears that the spirit of embracing thy neighbor is something this broken, beastly place can never hope to achieve. Sometimes I think I am dreaming, lost in a nightmare in this place without magic. What you people are missing, you have no idea.
It sounds like a tall tale, and one that I'm not likely to believe. Are you saying you're a dragon?
Technically, yes. But not in the way you mean, Frostblood.
Yes, I think you'll find that there are plenty of us here, and we're awfully hard to kill. So I'm wondering how you got yourself caught, if you come from a place of magic.
Are you some kind of special giant that has the ability to use magic in a land without it? Because if you are, I would love for you to teach me how. Coming from a land where it is abundant means nothing when you're walking through the desert without a glass of water.
Yeah, some of the things he said has definitely, he kind of squints once he's heard the way that this man has described that, magic is something that he has in one place and has not in another.
I know nothing of magic. I have only heard rumors, and you are speaking wind.
Yet you know the word dragon.
Live long enough and you do hear tales.
Tell me, what tales have you been told of dragons?
And he reaches a blue-scaled hand out of the cell towards you and says,
My name is Kalutris. What is yours? I have never shaken the hand of a little giant.
My name is Skogul, and what I know of dragons I've only been told. Which seems like you might know quite a bit more than me. Can you change your size?
If we were outside the Scourge, I could with ease, but here, no. I am locked into this size and shape. No different than you're locked into yours.
Skogul finishes making one of the traps and he kind of looks at the bat.
Yes, we're all quite limited down here, aren't we?
What does your kind tell you of dragons, these tales you've been told? Do you think of them often?
His ears kind of twitch at that, like a little elf-like twitch to his ear.
All the tales I've been told of dragons, I did not hear from my own kind. That is why I maybe don't fear you the way you would hope I would.
I don't hope that you fear me at all. I would hope that we could be friends.
Well, from what I can ascertain, dragons pose no more threat to me than any other beast here. There's no reason for us to be enemies.
I have no interest in being your enemy. In fact, while you may think that dragons pose you no danger if you ever do visit Ashgalith, I suggest you steer clear of any true dragons. Mighty worms favor little half-giants as delicious snacks. Your kind crunches nicely between their teeth.
Here's hoping we can see the light of day, let alone this other world of yours.
and he nods over towards the sleeping hobgoblin and the half-hill giant. He says,
Do not free them. You have been gone. You do not hear the things they speak of in the cat's absence. If you let either of them out, she will die.
And he looks over to both of them.
And why would I trust your ward over anything else here?
And he just kind of makes a sneer towards the goblin.
he shakes his head and kind of shrugs his shoulders a little bit, and he says,
I told you, we do not belong here. We are not like these others. I admit we are not fighters, but
and he spits out this like thin bolt of lightning into the air that he catches, and you like watch the spark flit up across his hand, back up his arm towards his neck, into his head. We are not without natural defenses. Help us so the warden can see we are not the threat he thinks. Please, if you want us to help you escape, we can only do so free.
Skogul pops his neck and he like looks towards Ettin.
I suppose I'll keep listening to you as long as you don't act a fool.
He nods, leans against the bars as beside you, Vendis, who had been feigning sleep, sits up and rummages through his pack. After a moment, he pulls out a small leather-bound toolkit and hands it to you. Here.
Oh.
I think you'll make better use of this than I can. I found it in the Descender's Well after the guards abandoned it in the riot.
And he kind of breaks his conversation off with the Draconian and looks at Vendis and he goes,
You birds are so resourceful.
Well, I've never made a trap in my life. Wouldn't even know how to start. You'll make better use of it than I will.
We'll lean in and maybe you can learn a thing or two.
And as Skogul starts sort of like working on the traps, the Draconian Kalutras looks up at Dralvik and says, How exactly did you subdue that remarkable creature? I see it watching you, different than the rest of us.
he looks up at her and he kind of, he feels a sense of like kinship and a warmth with it.
Subdue is the wrong word.
Fascinating. That tracks with your kind. Most beasts respond to power or fear. It is a tried and true method.
Maybe they would fear me if I were full giant, but being half, I have to take what I can get and use my words as best I can. Beast, creature, man alike.
And he looks down at the trap you're building and he says, A trap of bones. Are you hoping to snare rats with that?
And then he kind of tosses the trap in front of the Draconian, and then he goes,
Why don't you step on it and find out?
You might be half the size of a giant, but you hold 100% of the attitude. Thank you for talking to me. I have never spoken to a giant. This has been illuminating.
Maybe I'll come back and we'll have another chat.
He nods. I would like that. And he goes and sits on his stone cot and lays down and closes his eyes. Vendis, beside you, yawns and lays back down as well. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to hold on, boss. But he's not wrong. I've met more giants in my life than I can count. They're all evil, pure and simple. You, I see it in there. You got it. But you're different. Thank you for not leaving us up there. If you had it, I don't think it would just be Skelch who's gone.
Skogul nods, but he doesn't really accept it.
Seeing the effort you put up, I don't think we'd be down here without you.
He rolls over and closes his eyes.
I think he's actually just gonna tuck in the bat and then curl up in his cell.
What is he thinking and or feeling as he slides off into dreams?
Oh, well, I think he's picturing some flying creatures that he's never seen before, but he hears tales of them. He feels like the shadow of these leathered wings flying over him, and he kind of shudders before he passes out.
Fantastic, fantastic. And a few hours later, deep into the middle of the night, Ettin's eyes snap open. Something is wrong. Her fur bristles, as if she smells a rat. And pushing herself slightly upright, she peers across the black cells. Danielle, please roll perception with advantage for me.
22.
You see the pale elf pressed up against the bars of his cell. His gaunt face is split by a chilling smile. He has reached one delicate hand through the bars, and you see that he dangles a small metal dial from a fine chain. It spins steadily, catching and scattering the faint firelight. Behind his back, the elf grips something pale and sharp. A shard of bone. Likely something dropped from Skogul's earlier work. Your gaze moves then toward Keppel. Unlike everyone else, Keppel is awake, but only barely. His eyes are glassy and exhausted and unfocused, and his cheeks glisten wet with silent tears. He shuffles forward, one slow step after the other, entranced by the elf's spinning dial. "That's it," the elf murmurs. "A little closer." Keppel's lips quiver as the elf continues luring him in. "You've done a bad thing, haven't you? The worst thing. You deserve to be punished, but the pain is too much for such a tiny, fragile body." Keppel nods slowly, as if lost in a dream. "Bring it to me. Let me carry your burden so I can grant you peace." Keppel steps closer, only inches from the bars. One trembling hand reaching out towards the spinning dial. "Closer now. Just a bit closer." Ettin. Nobody is watching but the gods. You know that if you delay any longer, the pale elf is going to murder Keppel in cold blood. Do you step in to save this little gnome, wrecked by depression and guilt? And if you do, how do you save him? If not, what is she thinking as she watches this predator begin his feast?
She does step in, and she does the little cat stalking where she's like moving slowly so as not to catch the attention. And then as she gets within pouncing distance, she does the little butt shake as she's down on all fours. And you see the tip of her tail flick as she jumps on top of Keppel, knocking him out of the near grasp he's in.
Fantastic. And as you hit the ground, it is a perfectly soft roll. The both of you pop up, and Keppel's kind of in your arms. What is that? What's happening? What's happening? And you look over at the pale elf, and he is staring death at you.
Not my cells. And then she snaps her head back to Keppel and she says, "What were you thinking getting that close to him?"
Please roll either a persuasion or an intimidation for me with advantage.
That's definitely gonna be intimidation.
Alrighty.
25.
And he just kind of like breaks into these shuddering gasps. I don't know. His voice, it sounded so soothing, and he said he was gonna help me.
He preys on the weak.
Is that what I am? Am I weak?
I don't know. Are you? Is this what you are? A sniveling mess?
I don't know anymore. My whole life, was violence. I never wanted to hurt anyone. He rolls this sleeve up, reveals that his pale skin is marred by these grotesque, twisting burns. They cover my arms, my chest, my back, my legs. Deformithal. And this is a name you've never heard. The Red Worm. She took me and others when we were just children, raised us as pets. As slaves. She'd heat her talons up till they glowed white, then carve her magic into our flesh. We were spies. We didn't even get to meet people. Infiltrators trained to just deceive and destroy. And I fled. And I ran to the Scourge Garden. I was safe for years. Then I made the mistake of coming here to this stupid city. They arrested me because I stole books. I just wanted to know who I was, where I came from. My ancestors, when they were from the Fairlands, before they traveled to Ashkalis. I didn't fight back, not even when they dragged me here. Every time I get violent, everything dies. Deform with the winds, and everything I ran from becomes who I am again. And since I've been down here, the only person who understood that and looked out for me was Skelch, and I fucking killed him.
Ettin is a little bit taken aback by all of this. She takes a beat, and I wasn't here for the battle, so I didn't see exactly what happened. But you should know as well as anyone, especially if that was your life before, that things happen. Accidents happen. You can try your best, but still. And is this really what he would want for you? That you become nothing? That you become a nuisance underfoot? Is this what I have to carry around with us now?
No. He would want me to get out of here.
Well, can you do that when you're acting like this? Can you do that when you're falling prey to trash like him? And she nods over to the elf.
And he looks over at the elf, and the elf blows a kiss to him. And he shakes his head, and he just says, "No, I can't. Thank you."
Look, I don't know if it brings you comfort, but the Minotaur talking earlier about bringing Skelch back, if he went down in battle, he died a good death. It was honorable. However it may have happened, he was on the battlefield. It counts for something. And what you need to do now, for him and for all of us, is to stop letting this weigh you down. And you need to fight your best in his honor.
Roll a persuasion or intimidation for me with advantage.
Definitely gonna keep doing intimidation. It's 24.
Yeah, he nods. You're right. And remember, everyone else is asleep right now. What is your name?
She kind of looks around. I'll tell you. If you tell anyone else, I'll feed you to him.
And he looks back over to the elf, and he just shudders.
And she gets real close to his ear, and she whispers, "Ettin."
To be continued.
I could see that scene. That was fucking crazy. That was some classic Drew horror. That was reminders of all the times I've read your screenplays. Like, that was real.
Awesome.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of the Barrow White scene in The Hobbit, where they're all just stuck in this terrible crypt, and then this hand starts creeping around the corner, and it's slow and methodical. And you're like, oh god, the creeping dread.
Yeah. I've been excited to use that guy since we first met him a couple chapters ago. He's just so creepy looking.
That was a fun night. They're all fun. There was something. You had that one locked down. Skogul's the only one who's down there who deserves to be down there. He's trying to murder someone in
that's
the
what it's starting to
street.
sound like. Yeah, well, I mean, he really tried to cut someone in half. But I mean, that guy had it coming.
That fucking rabbit had it coming. No, that was awesome.
tried to
I
cut
gave
someone
him
in
like
half.
3 chances.
Well, that's not just one more chapter down, listeners. That's another day down. That's the end of day 2. And trust me when I say that day 3 is filled with investigation shenanigans and one hell of a dungeon crawl. We'll be in day 3 for a while now, long enough for you to look back on day 1 and 2 and think to yourself, gosh, those were the good old days, weren't they?